I don't really promote when I'm live other than like put on my Snapchat story.
Yeah, facts.
Because I feel like I'm not 100% there yet.
Have you ever used the app Reach for TikTok?
No.
Yeah, someone reached out to me the other day from Reach, and I was wondering if that was common.
What is that?
It's like how people can reach out to you for sponsors or stuff like that.
Oh,
And
really?
reach out to you through that app and stuff.
I'll look up that. I'll look that up. Reach. Shout out to Reach. This isn't an ad for Reach, but shout out to
No.
Reach. Is it literally just called Reach?
Yeah.
I'll find it, whatever. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the 25th episode of Some Casual Takes, a podcast hosted by me, Stephen Pepper, featuring other sports fans debating interesting topics with the most casual takes. This episode, speaking of sponsorships, this episode is brought to you by no one. Back at school, man. Back at the frat house. No more spring break for me. So back to the house setup. I think this is a way cooler setup than my basement that I was in all of spring break. Got the jerseys on the wall. Shout out Lonzo Ball. Shout out Pujols. Here with good takes, back again with hopefully some good takes today, man. We're going to recap some of the NBA over the weekend, and we got some football. Finally, I got some football news that I want to talk about. We're going to save that for the end of the show. I feel like I don't really talk football anymore. I need football to like start back up because all I do is talk basketball. Basketball is the thing I'm most knowledgeable in. I played basketball growing up. I just research a lot more about basketball, but football I just love watching more, and I wish there was more football news related. But today, when I was in class, I got the notification about the football news, so we're going to say that for the end of the show. But what happened yesterday, 3:30 game, low return. I was at the gym. Working out. Before I hit the road to go back to school, I had to get one little push day in. Just get this little tweet on I get a little buzz, see this little tweet notification. I see all these low return graphics. Breaking news, LeBron back. I heard the previous day LeBron upgraded from like out to doubtful. Then he had some questionable rumors. I just didn't think he would come back today. I thought he'd probably wait until like this week here, not like on Sunday, but like further in the week to come back. But he came back, and he came off the bench, played I think 30 minutes, but the Lakers lost. They were on a 3-game win streak to ride to a 500 record, got to the 8th seed, and they lost to the Chicago Bulls. Good takes. What's your reaction to that game, man? LeBron's comeback, Lakers lose, down under 500 again.
So I actually didn't mind LeBron's return at all. I think LeBron James returned. He went 6 for 11 from the field, so he's over 50% from the field. His plus minus was better, so when he was on the floor, they were actually up in the plus minus. I can't remember exactly how much, but I know when he left the floor, they were minus 14. So this wasn't necessarily.
You got a +4 box score just to help you out there.
+4 box score and then a minus 14 or something ridiculous like that when he left the floor. So for me, this one's on Anthony Davis again. I don't know how you have LeBron James come back into the lineup and Anthony Davis still lacks aggression. Now, that's probably the reason why Anthony Davis lacks his aggression is he has some excuse for himself that, LeBron's coming back, so now we can put the focus on LeBron again and I can relax. Anthony Davis, every single game for the rest of this season, we need you to be aggressive, attacking the hoop. Who are we talking about that can guard Anthony Davis last night? I don't know, but Anthony Davis didn't put any aggression into that hoop, that's for sure.
It's interesting because you touched on it great about the Anthony Davis. I'm going to get into Anthony Davis in a second. Now the Lakers are the 9th seed, which is not a huge drop-off. Minnesota did win, which didn't help, but they did beat Golden State. So if they were going to beat anyone, it's Golden State. So it kind of cancels out. Golden State falls a game. Minnesota goes up a game. So we're a game behind Minnesota. I think we play Minnesota at Minnesota in the last couple games of the year. So that's going to be an interesting one. So the Lakers are now the 9th seed. They could have applied more pressure to the 8th seed with a win, and they missed an opportunity there to go a game above 500. But they're fine. As far as where the Lakers are right now, I know a loss to the Bulls, a team that's, I think, the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. it looks bad, especially in LeBron's return. You had all this hype. The Lakers were, 3-0 with LeBron and with the new squad. And all this hype during this stretch without LeBron is, wow, this team's good. Just wait till LeBron comes back. This is a borderline contender. And then LeBron comes back and they lose. But I don't think we should overreact. I think the Lakers are fine. But it's still an unacceptable loss nonetheless because it is the Chicago Bulls. It's not like it's the Nuggets, the Celtics. And I know the Chicago Bulls are on fire, but the Lakers have the second easiest schedule to end the season. I don't think we can lose games like this. Now, luckily, it was a loss to the Eastern Conference team. Now, a loss to an Eastern Conference team doesn't swing the standings as if it was a loss to like a play-in Western Conference team like the Timberwolves, Jazz, Pelicans. Luckily for that, we got a loss out of the way for that, but still you can't lose there. I think there was a couple problems I saw with the Lakers. First of all, the Bulls just played a really heck of a game. Hats off to the Bulls. I think they're really hot right now on the road since the All-Star break. Really great record. I think there's 7 of their last 9 or something on the road. I don't have the exact stat, but they beat the Nuggets and Clippers on the road. So this is a team that, although is the 10th seed right now, this is a squad that was in the playoffs last year. They had a really high record one point last season. I don't know how far they got before they ended up falling to the 6th seed, before injuries caught up to them last year. But at one point when they were fully healthy, began last season, they were a really high record. So this is still a playoff Bulls team, and they just shot really well last night from the top to bottom of their roster. They all shot really well. I think it was a close game to start the game, but I think some issues I saw in the top of each quarters where it was a 3-point game for the Lakers to start the second quarter, and the Bulls just going this huge run to start the second quarter, and it completely shifted a lot of momentum to the Bulls, and it was led by guys like Andre Drummond and a couple of their young guys, Kobe White and Deshumu, I forgot to pronounce his name. Yeah, he was hitting some threes. I didn't think he was a shooter like that. Dude was pulling up threes. So the Bulls started to create some distance. It was kind of like the Lakers kind of fought back each time. It happened multiple times throughout the game. The end of the second quarter, Lakers got to 8 points before halftime. And to open up the third quarter, here come the Bulls again with a run. The Lakers cut that back to go into the fourth quarter. But to open up the fourth quarter, here come the Bulls again with another run. And it's just the Bulls kept opening each quarter with huge runs. Zach LaVine got basically whatever he wanted. But a huge concern for me was Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, like you said,
have to touch on that.
We can't have this from Anthony Davis at all. I sound like a broken record, but I need to keep saying it every show. I say it every show. Anthony Davis for the Lakers to win going forward, if they really want, I'm not saying to contend, but if they want to win games and push for a playoff spot, he has to be 28-10 every game. 28-10. I know it seems like a lot to ask for a player who has all NBA first team, top 75 player. For a top 75 player in his prime, 28-10, bro, that should be your season average. 28-10, go get that. And what I didn't like seeing is Anthony Davis, although Anthony Davis, when he was playing and when he was scoring, he was productive, 6 for 8. It's not like he had an off night shooting. It's just,
but only 8 shots is the problem.
Only 8 shots, and that's the problem with Anthony Davis is he doesn't really, this season when he's not scoring, it's not like he's having off nights. He just has nights where he just doesn't apply himself offensively. Defensively, he'll still give you the block shots. He had one the other day, a steal. Other games, he'll get like 2 to 5. He'll give you your block shots. Defensively, he'll still be there in the middle. But on offense, he doesn't really apply himself the way I like it to. 15 points, man. Come on, bro.
Especially talking about
it's unacceptable when the Chicago Bulls center gets ejected in the second quarter.
Oh, yeah.
So you have 2.5 quarters where their former all-star center is not playing.
Right, exactly.
And you could not eat his lunch? You did not go post up, say, yo, I got this little dude on me. Let me get that. Boom, turn around. Give me that. You did not do that. You did not do that. And that's my problem with Anthony Davis. Is not that he has bad shooting nights. He can't shoot. He just doesn't apply himself. He was productive when he applied himself. When he shot those 8 shots, he was 6 for 8. But we need him to take like 15 shots. We need that 37 points from the other night. How can you go from 37 and 15 to like 15 and 10?
Absolutely. And if you want to look at all the for example, we'll use Giannis as an example. Giannis right now is gearing up towards the playoffs. You can see he's dominating any center that comes next to him. He's putting up 30 and 10 every game, and you can clearly tell he's not even putting in all the way his 100% effort. Anthony Davis gets the perfect round of centers to dominate offensively. He gets Vucevic and Andre Drummond. Vucevic gets out in the second quarter, I believe. He gets ejected, kind of a wrongful ejection or whatever. So you expect, okay, Davis is now going to be able to dominate a backup center in Drummond. Drummond does the opposite. He dominates Anthony Davis for the remainder of the game. Exactly. And he holds Davis to 8 shots and not being aggressive. There was one specific play that I saw that was just such a huge problem for me, completely aside from Anthony Davis getting dominated from Andre Drummond. I can't believe Anthony Davis, I believe, has his back facing towards Derek Jones Jr., I believe. I believe he's 6'6", 190 pounds. So Anthony Davis, okay, your premier center, has his back to him. And this is the thing. Nobody else is in the paint. Nobody else is around him. So instead of Anthony Davis saying, okay, I got this small guy on me, let me go to work, he tries to run a play in the corner with someone. So he dribbles the ball out to the corner. He hands the ball off to whoever it is, Brown or whatever. So it's like, what are you doing? You have a 6'6", lanky guy on you, and you're not going to dominate him. What are you going to do in the playoffs against a real center?
Yeah, and you were talking about, especially against like a Jokic, you were talking about Andre Drummond. And in that second quarter, to start that second quarter when the Bulls went on that run, which was led by their bench, not LaVine, not DeRozan, not Vucevic, to start that second quarter, it was their bench with Kobe White. And one of the people who led that run, who's grabbing offensive rebounds and getting post layups, was actually Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond was going up on the chest of Anthony Davis, eating his lunch. I think he had 8 to 10 points to go in the second quarter. He was going off on Anthony Davis's head. I think he outscored AD in that second quarter when Andre Drummond was leading a run. And I'm like, Anthony Davis, you're getting posted up by Andre Drummond. That's no disrespect to Andre Drummond, but you're Anthony Davis. You're the one who's supposed to be doing this post work to him. But the Bulls, they got all those guys, man, who just – when you look at their team, they just got all those guys who just want to kill the Lakers. Got DeRozan, who wanted to play for the Lakers. He somehow was hitting his three. He's a mid-range guy. And when he gets to that mid-range spot, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't tell me Vanderbilt, Beverly, they're not guarding him in that mid-range. He was even hitting his threes. 2 for 2 for DeRozan. If DeRozan's hitting his threes, you just know it's a good shooting night for the Bulls. They were 45% from 3. This
very
is
out of character game for them shooting-wise. Very out of character.
DeRozan's hitting his threes, you know it's a good night for them. Beverly, the former Laker, has been wanting this matchup ever since he got traded. And he gave him 10 points and hit that little "you're small" LeBron, which I don't think was right because he didn't embody LeBron. But, he decided he wanted that matchup. He gave him his career-high 10 points. Congratulations to Patrick Beverly. Could barely give 10 for the Lakers. Caruso, now offensively he didn't have the biggest impact. He started off the game hitting 2 threes or whatever. Offensively, he didn't have a good impact. But, defensively, he was really there. Kyle Caruso is one of the best defenders in the NBA. He didn't want to necessarily kill the Lakers, but he knew how to play the Lakers, and he knew LeBron's tendencies. He stepped in front. LeBron was drawing charges. That was some key parts of the game, too. LeBron was getting charges drawn on him. LaVine, I don't know if LaVine wanted to kill the Lakers, but he's always been in Lakers rumors. I did a podcast on it like 2 months ago about him being in Lakers rumors. He got everything he wanted. Andre Drummond, former Laker. Last time the Lakers were in the playoffs, Andre Drummond, he had 12 points. He was nice. So the Bulls just had a lot of guys who wanted to kill the Lakers. Great shooting nights from them. And for LeBron James, as far as did LeBron James look rusty? I don't think LeBron didn't even look that rusty. I mean, he looked a little gassed. It didn't look like his stamina was there when he first got on the court.
No.
But by his second substitution in that second quarter run when I was pointing out, it was actually led by LeBron James. I think LeBron James looked very mobile. He was dishing out. He wasn't settling for a lot of threes. You would assume a guy who might get used to coming back into the NBA game, he might stand on the three-point line and not try to take all that contact. Someone who's scared of getting hurt. LeBron was going to the rim pretty easily, minus those couple of charges. Mm-hmm. So I think either a game or two, especially what do they play on Wednesday in Chicago? I could see definitely a 25 to 30-point game from LeBron James this time around because I really liked the movement he got. But overall, the Lakers as a team played really well, other than Anthony Davis. Defensively, I'll like Vanderbilt more on some of their best guys. I don't like sometimes where their best players is not guarded by Jared Vanderbilt. I would like Vanderbilt more on LaVine. Troy Brown Jr., man, I really like him. He's one of the best shooters on the team. He was doing his thing, especially early. Schroeder, 4 out of 10, maybe hit it one more shot or two. But Schroeder, he'll take 17 from Schroeder. Reeves, I think this team's struggling right now to play first game back, right? So LeBron James wasn't in their lineup for a month. And I think when you play with somebody with the gravity of LeBron, it's like playing next to Kobe or Jordan. It's like, oh, when this guy's in the lineup, it's their team. It's like playing with Jordan or Kobe. It's the same thing. It's their team. When LeBron comes in the lineup, it's LeBron's lineup. So the offense kind of runs through LeBron, or the ball handling responsibilities go to LeBron. Maybe Austin Reeves or some of these guys don't want to step on LeBron's toes. So I wonder what Austin Reeves is going to look like now with LeBron in the lineup, because Austin Reeves without LeBron was having those, hey, it's my turn, give me the ball, I'm about to dominate moments. I don't know if he's ever going to do that with LeBron by him. It'll be interesting to see. So he had 13. Like, guys who try to take over games, I don't know. They did that during the stretch. Schroeder and all of them, they took over games without LeBron. I don't know if they're going to do that with LeBron on the court. Malik Beasley, he shot well, but I don't think they came at the right time. They came more at the end of the game when the game was over. When it was needed, he didn't really shoot well. But all in all, man, the Lakers really just relies on Anthony Davis. I think they'll figure it out as far as LeBron. So LeBron, he's fine. The rest of the Lakers, they're fine. D'Lo's going to come back. Remind you, no D'Lo. They're fine. It's just Anthony Davis. He just needs to be consistent. The fact that Anthony Davis is the 5th leading scorer yesterday, unacceptable.
Yeah, and a little bit of a solution there, especially with Austin Reeves, because obviously he had his time to shine due to a lot of people being injured, so he had a lot more touches. I've seen Darvin Ham with some really whack rotations this year. A lot of Lakers fans have been unhappy with the way Darvin Ham has placed people, especially when Westbrook was on the floor. He was playing Westbrook in clutch moments and weird things like that. The one thing I would like to see Darvin Ham do with the rotation is, now that all the guys are starting to come back into the lineup, I want to see him insert Austin Reeves into that bench lineup and hopefully have him kind of run the bench with his ball handling, because once he's having the ball in his hands, having the freedom to make the passes he wants and take the shots that he wants, I mean, that's when he put up those 25 to 30-point games, is when he was doing that. So a good way to substitute that would be to let Austin Reeves run that bench unit a little bit.
Yeah, I actually like that point. I really don't like Darvin Ham. I think when no D'Angelo Russell on the floor means Dennis Schroeder starts. And now we have Austin Reeves starting too. So your 2 best bench players are now in your starting lineup. And not only are these your 2 best bench players, and that's no disrespect to Malik Beasley, but Reeves and Dennis Schroeder, they can get an offense going. They can get a run started. And you kind of need one of those guys to go to the bench. So I wouldn't mind Reeves coming down to the bench, putting Beasley back, because I never suggested Reeves coming in the starting lineup. A lot of people liked it. I always liked him facilitating that bench, being a really good 6-man. He can be there and get that bench going, because the Chicago Bulls shot creators off the bench really outplayed the Lakers. And Rui Hachimura just didn't play. Shout out to Darvin Ham, another coaching masterclass. Just forgot that Rui Hachimura existed. Just didn't play.
Yeah, that big athletic forward that they were begging to have.
Yeah, he always forgets that Lonnie Walker doesn't exist when D'Angelo Russell plays. He just totally forgot about Rui Hachimura. I guess Rui Hachimura just was like hidden in the stands somewhere. He wasn't on the bench, so maybe just didn't call his number. I don't know. But as far as the Lakers, 6th seed is still open. They're fine, but they need to go on a 6-game winning streak. 5-game road stretch before the final 2 games at home. They have 7 games left. I know 5 games on the road look scary, and some of those games
challenging.
Some of those games, yeah, you're right. Some of those games are against some play-in teams that we're gonna have to compete with. The Jazz, the Thunder, I don't know, Timberwolves, teams that we're gonna have to play again. OKC, I don't know where the schedule is at, but I know. Actually, I can pull it up here.
They need some wins. They need some wins in these last few.
Chicago,
games.
Minnesota, Houston, Utah, LA. So Minnesota, Utah, and LA are 3 teams that we need to compete with in the playoff standing. So I know the road sounds tough, but the second easiest remaining schedule in the West, the Lakers, in summary, they're fine. LeBron should be good on Wednesday to have his typical LeBron performance. Like I always say every week, it all comes down to Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Another team that lost yesterday in the Western Conference, but their loss is even worse, was the Dallas Mavericks 110-104 loss to the Charlotte Hornets.
Second loss to the Charlotte Hornets.
So let me ask you, Good Takes. Where are the Dallas Mavericks right now? Do you like this Kyrie and Luka pairing? Is it Kyrie's fault? Who's to blame here? What direction are you going to – yeah.
No, yeah, the Dallas Mavericks, they took a risk with Kyrie Irving. Every team that acquires Kyrie Irving is taking a risk, not to mention that Kyrie Irving has a chance to be a free agent. You know, they're not guaranteed to sign him in the offseason. So they were kind of making a push to say, okay, let's get to the playoffs and see what Kyrie and Luka can do in a playoff series. Maybe we can make another conference finals. Now they're not even looking at a play-in spot. And if it wasn't for Luka's technical foul being revoked for the second time this season, I saw a report about Luka's technical foul was actually –
he could face a suspension if he gets too many times.
Yeah, exactly. He was supposed to be suspended for this up-and-coming game the Mavericks have, but they're allowing him to play. It's some weird stuff going on, but the fact that they have a chance to miss this play-in tournament, I mean, that'll tell you that you don't have
not
a
the
defense.
Playoffs. Good take. The play-in.
So we're talking about the Jazz are in a better position to make the playoffs than the Dallas Mavericks are. You have Christian Wood, you have Kyrie Irving, you have Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is now saying that for a while he's been kind of unhappy with the way and when I look at Luka Doncic on the court, his body language is always terrible. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with his own missed shots. It's not like he's missing a shot in his body. It's always his he kicks it out. One of his teammates can't make a shot, and then he's just moping his way up and down the court. Mm. So Luka Doncic isn't looking very motivated to win these 3 games to get themselves back up to 500. So it's very much a possibility that they don't even make the play-in tournament. And for me, that's when these rumors are going to start, Luka teaming up with someone else.
Yeah, this summer, if they don't make the play-in, this summer with Kyrie's contract,
he might be gone.
Oh, my Lord. But, yeah, man, Hornets.
That's you lose to Mason Plumlee twice.
No.
And they don't have LaMelo Ball or Terry Rozier. Keep that in mind. So we have not only one of the worst teams, except for the Rockets and Pistons, we have one of the worst teams and take away their only 2 players that can do anything significant. You actually lost to Mason Plumlee and who? Jaden McDaniels? I don't know. You lost to those people.
I'm going to declare today on this show, the Luka and Kyrie experiment is over. Not just for this season. I think it could be over entirely. Like this duo might even not last till next season. Kyrie might go. They might just let Kyrie walk. Because even if they do make the playoffs, right now they're the 11th seed. Even if they do make the playoffs, after winning some play-in games, they won't make any noise. And they won't make any noise because this team, I've been trying to warn everybody for the last month or so. Since they got Kyrie, this team is all offense, no defense. This team offensively needs to be perfect to win. We see in their 2 best games this season, that win against Philly and that close loss at home to Phoenix on primetime. They need to be perfect offensively to win. Luka and Kyrie need to drop 30 each, and their supporting cast needs to be great from downtown.
Luka dropped 40 in a loss to the Hornets.
Mm-hmm. And
if Luka's dropping 40 and you're losing to the Hornets, that will tell you where your defense stands.
Exactly. And if those shots aren't falling, it's an auto L because they don't have the defense to overcome all their missed shots. Luka had 40, but I think he took some bad shots. I think he was still 40% from the field, which isn't good. He was a little inefficient. Kyrie, 33%. Not good. 38% from the rest of your supporting cast from 3 isn't bad, but I think Luka Doncic usually really bumped it up. Hardaway was 3 for 9. Bullock was 1 for 5. Kyrie was 2 for 6 from 3. So these are your shooters here. But like I said, if you don't get that great supporting cast, they don't play defense. They can't guard anybody. They're traffic cones on defense. I don't even know if they can guard anybody. I don't know if they don't try on defense or they just can't even, they don't have the personnel to play defense. I don't know what it is. But the fact is, Luka and Kyrie has not worked. It just hasn't. The Dallas Mavericks, the day that they acquired Kyrie, they were 29-26. Today, they sit at 36-39. That is an insane switch.
They flipped the script.
They flipped the record with Kyrie. That was not supposed to happen. Kyrie has a 6-9 record when playing with the Mavs, including a dreaded 3-for-8 record with Luka Doncic alongside him. Mark Cuban did not envision this at all.
A lot of those losses came in clutch time.
Back-to-back losses to one of the worst teams in the NBA. Not the Bucks, not the Celtics, not the Nuggets, not the Warriors. Back-to-back losses to the Charlotte Hornets.
You couldn't have asked for an easier freebie to get into the play-in. You couldn't have.
You couldn't ask for two. Your team's falling. You could not ask for two. You could not ask for two just freebie wins to help you get back to the play-in. And instead, you lost to the Hornets. Not just the Hornets, good take. The Charlotte Hornets without two of their best players. And one of those players is the face of their franchise, all-star 20-point per game scoring LaMelo Ball. Without that person, that is the nail in the coffin. It is over for Luka and Kyrie. They should not run it back. And they might not even make the playoffs.
It's such a crazy thing to try and accept that a team with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic isn't going to even make the play-in. Now, but let's just say after this season that Kyrie and Luka part ways. Now, if Kyrie is the one that ends up leaving Dallas, at what point are we seriously going to have a conversation about holding him accountable for basically forcing his way into teams, ruining their franchise, and then forcing his way out? Oh my goodness. He's taken his player empowerment to a point where he's making the franchises his slave. He goes into Boston, he goes into every team and he ruins it.
It's crazy because, man, I really like Kyrie. He's one of my top 5 favorite players ever. A guy, I'm a Cavs. I say we, the Lakers, a lot, but I'm a Cavs homie. I only say we because I'm a LeBron fan as well. Someone from Ohio, growing up watching Kyrie highlights in elementary school, seeing him hit that shot, bro, in Game 7, all those classic games. Some of my favorite games ever was the Kyrie San Antonio 55 points. The Kyrie game in
2016 Christmas.
Yeah. One of my favorite games also was when there was no LeBron. It was the first year in Cleveland. First year with LeBron's return. LeBron didn't play that night against Portland. Kyrie goes, I think, for like 50 on Damian Lillard. One of my favorite games ever. And to see this happen, it always happens where Kyrie goes. It just doesn't work out. Boston doesn't work out. Nets doesn't work out. Now this doesn't work out. And these aren't like, oh, Kyrie is going to play for the Charlotte Hornets. Kyrie's playing on like Kevin Durant's team. Kyrie's going to play with a team in Boston that's been to conference finals. Kyrie's going to play with Kevin Durant, a guy who's just coming off a couple champions.
And James Harden for a bit.
James Harden for a little bit. Kyrie's going to go team up with Luka Doncic. Again, a team that was just in the conference finals. Like, he's going to some great situations, and it just seems like they just get worse and don't. The teams that he goes on, they don't live up to expectations. Boston was always seen as the best team in the East, and they never went to a championship, even when they had Kyrie. Brooklyn was seen. Now, Brooklyn gets a little. That 2021 year, I give them a pass because of injuries, but the next year, sweep to the Celtics, unacceptable. And now they get to Dallas, and it's like, bro, this team was in the West Finals last year. They get you because they thought Luka needed another co-star to get over the hump, and it failed. And I think in the offseason, there's a common denominator. It seems like Kyrie. And I go on TikTok lives all the time with Kyrie fans, and they dodge Kyrie all the time and make excuses saying it's not Kyrie's fault. But at some point, when do we say it's Kyrie's fault? When he's the common denominator in each team
in every situation,
aspirations that fails to live up to expectations every time.
Not to mention every single franchise. The second, I'm going to call him the contender killer, Kyrie Irving, the contender killer. Every single time he comes to these contenders, as soon as he leaves, they clean up their damn act. He leaves Boston. It gives time for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to grow together. They got rid of Gordon Hayward, and they fixed their situation up there. They had a defensive player in the year and Marcus Smart. They make the finals. The Nets, they get rid of Kyrie Irving. They trade Kevin Durant. They gain a bunch of assets, including Mikal Bridges, Cam Thomas. I mean, did you see the stat that where it was Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, and who's the last person there in that trade?
Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson. They had all played more minutes in total so far than the big three with the Nets, with Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
So now they got a bunch of healthy guys. Mikal Bridges, by the way, never missed a game in his damn life. Cam Johnson hasn't missed many games with injuries either.
No.
So they get a bunch of assets. They get a bunch of picks. Brooklyn Nets are still going to make the playoffs. The Brooklyn Nets may make the playoffs, where the Mavericks are not even going to make the play-in. So the Brooklyn Nets, while trading away Kyrie Irving, are going to have probably home court advantage in the Eastern Conference going into the playoffs, and they get to at least compete in a playoff series in 2023. But the Mavericks, no. They made that trade in order to maximize their potential this year, and instead they dropped 3 games below 500. So if that's not the contender killer affecting Kyrie, I don't know what the fuck it is.
It's actually crazy. And I think the offseason conversations, another conversation I'm not going to get into right now, but in the offseason, just to talk about it, we might have a conversation about Luka Doncic might be better when he doesn't really play with a number, like when he doesn't have this high value number 2 next to him. The Mavericks might actually be better off with just building Luka Doncic, bunch of great role-playing shooters, and a good defensive team. Because when they did have that last year, they went to the West Finals and knocked off the Suns. They were the 7th best defense in the NBA. They had great shooters in Bullock. They had great supporting cast and Jalen Brunson, Dinwiddie. These guys aren't all-star, all-NBA guys. I mean, Brunson's now an all-NBA guy, but at the time he wasn't. These aren't like all-NBA guys like a Kyrie. These are just great complementary pieces. The Mavericks might have just been better off with them.
It may be the case that Luka Doncic needs a team around him where they have just a solid center, someone like Miles Turner, someone that's going to play defense and is capable on offense, and then just surround him by Kentavious Caldwell-Popes, by Kuzmas, by guys that are lengthy, that can shoot, that can defend. And it shows that Dallas really does play their best when Luka does his one-man show, when Luka Doncic has 50 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, when Luka goes for those 60-20-10 games. I mean, they end up winning. At least they're winning. So, yeah, maybe you do need to go this offseason and think, how do we surround Luka Doncic by players that are just good enough in order to not take the ball out of his hands or kind of get in his way, per se?
Luka's game, I just don't think Luka has I know I said we're not going to get in the conversation, but we kind of are. Luka's game just isn't really the one for him to have a co-star with the volume like Kyrie. It's kind of like, I'm the man. I need 30 shots a game. If I don't shoot it, I'm driving, just be open, kick out, play defense. Yeah.
They should have kept Brunson. Brunson was perfect.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they wanted to pay Brunson.
No, they didn't.
I don't think
they had an opportunity before the season to pay him $60 million and keep him, but they said no.
Yeah, I don't think they saw the value in Brunson, but I don't know when they play next, but hopefully, actually, not hopefully they win because they're competing with the Lakers. So I need them to lose. I actually like this, though. It's for the Lakers' sake. A team like Dallas losing and falling out the playoffs is really good for the Lakers. It's really good for the Lakers. I like this
same here
because they didn't deserve that win in LA with that Max Kleber buzzer beater. So
we're rooting against the Timberwolves. We're rooting against the Pelicans. We're rooting against any of these teams in the playoffs.
Jazz. And it's so unlucky for the Lakers, too, because when they're falling out of the playoffs and trying to compete for a playoff spot, all of a sudden, like the teams that we thought were going to tank at the beginning of the year, we're getting lucky that the Blazers are shutting down Damian Lillard. We're getting lucky the Mavs are falling apart. And we're kind of getting lucky that Zion Williamson isn't playing. But teams like the Jazz and Thunder and we had expectations for Minnesota, but the Jazz and Thunder are trying to – teams that we thought were going to be the last 2 seeds in that conference other than like Houston and San Antonio, these teams are pushing for a playoff. Kind of got unlucky there, but getting it back in a way with some teams are falling out. But on to the Bucks and Nuggets. This team actually played on Saturday.
Yeah.
Not going to spend that much time on it, but I want to ask you, the Nuggets won by 23 points against the best team in the NBA in the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'm one of those guys who kind of put Denver on a fraud watch. I didn't really like them defensively, especially when they're on that stretch, that 4-game losing streak to really bad teams when defensively they were being exposed. Jamal Murray did not look anything close to bubble Murray. Jokic defensively was getting cooked. Embiid was taking the MVP trophy away from him. Nuggets didn't really look that good. I put them on fraud watch. But how big was this win for the Nuggets beating the number 1 team in the NBA?
Big time. The Nuggets are really gearing up for a playoff run here. Jokic obviously does his thing. He does his thing pretty much every night. Obviously, he had a small stretch a few games earlier where he wasn't really the Jokic that we know. But Jokic is gearing up. He's back. The part that I really like to see about that game with the Bucks is that Michael Porter Jr. had a Michael Porter Jr. game again. He wasn't trying to be someone that he isn't. We get it. You have 0 assists every game. You shoot either super efficiently or super not efficiently from the
Houston
field.
type scoreboard, bro.
Exactly. This guy's plus minus is 0.5 on assists. So you're either betting he's going to make 1 or more, or you're betting he's going to make 0. And don't get me wrong. The safer bet might be to bet that he's going to have 0 assists, because I believe he had over 20 points, 0 assists, and he was actually efficient this game. So Michael Porter Jr. is back in his groove, shooting absolutely any shot he can find, and in the most case, making it. And Jamal Murray's shooting came back. I believe Jamal Murray's three-point shot, he went in a slump where he only made 5 of 20 threes or something along those lines. So his three-point shooting kind of went off a decline. But gearing up in this first half against the Bucks, he killed them there with his three-point shooting, and he gained a little bit of distance in the first half with his three-point shooting. So all the Nuggets role players seem to be coming back into their own selves again. And another thing that the Nuggets showed was interior defense against the Bucks, because they were actually slowing down Brook Lopez, giving him trouble. Giannis didn't have a game like he was supposed to have. So the interior defense for the Nuggets showed up, which is something that people were criticizing.
Really quick, one of the teams, I'm not going to talk about them. I didn't dedicate a segment to it, but one of the teams who is really struggling with interior defense is the Golden State Warriors, and it's looking really bad
I don't want to
interior-wise. But I just wanted to point that out because one of the people I know on TikTok stitched one of my videos when I said the Golden State Warriors weren't contenders, and he tried to give arguments, but he didn't. I guess he's unaware that the Golden State Warriors, they play like a Jokic. They have nobody on defense who's really going to stop that interior. I mean, they have Draymond Green, but Embiid's going for 40, Naz Reid's going for 20, Karl Towns getting all the threes he wanted. That's scoring on Golden State. But for the Nuggets, to any Nuggets fans that watch my videos or actually stumbles upon my TikToks, I have put this team on fraud watch for months, but this was a very, very good. This is a huge win. They're trying to beat the fraud allegations a couple weeks before the playoffs. Playoffs start in about 2.5 weeks, something like that. They're trying to beat that fraud watch because as the number 1 seed, I did it with Utah when they were the number 1 seed. When you're the number 1 seed and I don't really like you, I put you on fraud watch for until the playoffs. I got to see how you are because the number 1 seeds are supposed to be some of the best teams in the league. But if I don't really feel you, you're on fraud watch. And the Nuggets try to beat those allegations 2 nights ago. Jokic did his thing. 31, 11, 6 on great efficiency like he always is. Played at an MVP level. You're going to get that from Jokic. But I think this is the potential that the Nuggets have offensively. When, like you said, Michael Porter Jr., there's not a shot I don't think Michael Porter Jr. can't shoot on offense when he's going. That man has the confidence of the world. As soon as he catches that ball in the corner, I don't care if you got a defender right there. It's over your head. It's over his nose. I've never seen a player like that. There's not a shot in the court I don't think Michael Porter Jr. can't hit. Now, defensively, he's not going to give you any steals. He's not going to give you any blocks. He's not going to give you any assists. He ain't going to play make. But if you pass in that rock, Jokic, in the corner, he's going to knock it down. If he's knocking him down, this Nuggets team's scary from behind New York. And Jamal Murray. I think one of my biggest issues with the Nuggets is Jamal Murray because I saw what Jamal Murray can do in the 2020 playoffs and how far he took the Denver Nuggets, leading them past the heavily favored Clippers in the playoffs. And that was as Jamal Murray as the best player, not Nikola Jokic. Then Nikola Jokic comes to his own at an MVP level, and Jamal Murray gets hurt, and he's kind of not the same player. And I was wondering, if the Nuggets really want to push this far, they need Jamal Murray to be 20 a game, all-star level shooting. And he did that with 26 against Drew Holiday, one of the best defenders in basketball. And he's really shooting good from three. I think he's 40% on the season. His threes are going to be really good. If Denver could hit 40% from three, play decently good defense, they did. I mean, Giannis got what he wanted, but the other Bucks role players didn't. They struggled. If they could
Bobby Portis was getting killed.
Yeah, so was Drew Holiday. He was bricking. Bobby Portis too. If they can play they can't play great defense because they don't have the personnel, but if they can play some pretty good defense, and hit these shots offensively, this team could actually be scary. And if I could see them do it for another game or so, I might take them off fraud watch. I might.
Yeah. And especially in the playoffs, actually, these worst defensive teams have an opportunity to play better defense, because we all know in the playoffs, the amount of physicality goes from whatever soft physicality we have in this regular season, it bumps up about twice as much. Like what people say that there's no hand checking, there's hand checking in the playoffs. People are grabbing at their hips, people are staying in front. There's not a lot of these charges called just because his toe was only touching and not his heel. So
game slows down too.
Exactly. So you have this opportunity to become scrappier in a slower game. So let's see how the defense pans out for the Nuggets.
Now, as far as fraud watch, they're not off yet because they play Philly tonight.
Yeah,
but for some reason, Joel Embiid's ducking and he's not playing.
And he was talking a bunch of BS about Jokic in an article when he wasn't wanting to mention Jokic's. Didn't want to mention Jokic's name, which is kind of like either you're going to mention Jokic's name in the article or you suit up and play against him tonight, knowing that that's who you were implying you were talking about. I don't like how you say a bunch of BS in an article and then you say, you know what, I'm going to take a seat and have a nice ice cold beer while I watch them.
And you ducked. And you ducked. You should have played tonight, bro. I think
wild.
He said the Atlantic was, I forgot the context of the thing. I just saw a quote on Twitter, but I think it was about pressure, about winning. And I think Joel Embiid was like, hey, I'm not the center with the MVPs and the first teams. He should have more pressure than I should because he has the accolades. First of all, Joel Embiid sounds jealous. I know Joel Embiid is mad, extremely mad that Jokic is beating him out for all these awards. At the end of the day, bro, stick it to him. I understand. He did it earlier in the season. I think in January he obliterated Jokic. But do it again. How are you going to say all this to a reporter and just be like, you know what? I'm not going to play today.
Yeah, that's weird. I've never seen someone instigate a fight and then run away before. That's it's kind of a weird thing to do.
The Nuggets have a really hard schedule. They play Philly now without Embiid, but they go New Orleans and they go on the road to Phoenix. I don't know when Kevin Durant's coming back, by the way, but on the road to Phoenix. Play Golden State, Houston, okay. On the road to Phoenix again. On the road to Utah, and then they play the high offense in Sacramento to the end of the season. So pretty hard schedule that's going to test this team to end the year. But I told you at the end of last show when we did the NBA awards that I was going to do and ask about the wrong NBA awards. The
LVPs.
The LVPs, the worst and the reverse NBA awards. So I don't know if you have any in mind, but I have some, and you can just go along if you don't. So what we're going to do right now is the NBA season is coming to end, so award talk is hype. He's getting hype.
Right.
I thought it'll be fun if we, instead of talking about who's going to win the actual awards, let's do our own awards and let's do a spin on it. Let's do the reverse awards. Let's do the wrong NBA awards. So for all the awards, Coach of the Year, all the way down, we give who should not win the award, not who's a favorite. So starting with Coach of the Year, good takes. Who should not win Coach of the Year?
Who should not win Coach of the Year? Now, throughout this entire season, I actually don't think that there's a coach that I want to pick, but there is someone that I have in mind when we're just thinking about who shouldn't win Coach of the Year. And I just think Darvin Ham shouldn't win Coach of the Year. I've watched all of his rotations. I've watched the people that he's paired up with other players. I've watched Rui Hachimura sit on the bench recently. I've watched a lot of things that when I just think, and don't get me wrong, we are lacking context. We're not in the locker rooms. We're not the guys that make rotations. We're not the professional coaches. But at the end of the day, there are so many instances where Darvin Ham does something where I think, what are you doing and what could be the reason behind this? And I can't find an answer to it. So for me, Darvin Ham, you got to go, man.
I think Darvin Ham is definitely on the hot seat. But for my worst Coach of the Year, I think it has to go to Steven Silas. I think the Houston Rockets are by far the worst coaching. Although I hate Darvin Ham, the Rockets are the worst coach team in the league. There's no culture down there in Houston. It's just a bunch of ISO, no passers, all scorers, selfish AAU guys like Jalen Green trying to get theirs, no continuity, no chemistry on the team, a bunch of young guys with no direction. And part of that, a huge part of that's because of Steven Siles. And I think he doesn't really do anything coaching-wise. And Houston's just going to be bad until they get this man out. I think they have some pieces to work with, but they're not going to go anywhere as long as he's the coach. All right. Who's the worst six man this year?
The worst six man of the year. Wow. Interesting. Now, for me, you'd have to probably choose a team that's like up there because you can't choose a tanking team and have the worst six man.
Yeah, you can't just pick like Royce O'Neal. Like, you gotta pick a team like who's actually like a legit team, and they've had problems from their bench. Because I got mine. I think the worst six man. I think the least six man of the year award goes to Russell Westbrook. I think when we talk about a six man, this man has a negative record with both teams he's played on this season. Can you believe that? You have a negative record with the Lakers and you go to the Clippers, you have a negative record. That is insane. No matter where he goes, it always seems like he messes up the team chemistry. It seems like he just collects a bunch of losses. It never works out. I just don't think Russell Westbrook is still a good talent, but as far as a guy who can go play and be a huge role on a championship team, I just don't think it's there. He caused problems for the Lakers. He caused problems for the Clippers. That's no disrespect to Russ. I still think I still have some talent left. But as far as what he did on the Lakers and Clippers, he's got a losing record on both teams.
Right. For what Russell Westbrook provides now in his career, which is, maybe 17, 5-5, whatever he produces now in his career, he needs way too many things around him in order for that to happen. And it's like, why am I spending my time building around this guy who's our sixth man, who's also one of the highest paid players in the league? So really what you're getting with Russell Westbrook is a lot of problems. And even if you go through all of the work to fix all of these problems, you're getting the production of someone that you can pay half of Russell Westbrook's salary to also do.
Yeah. Now, rookie of the year. Now, worst rookie of the year. Now, I don't know about you. Are you really tapped into who's the rookies and stuff like that?
You know what I will say is that I won't give this the worst rookie of the year because Jaden Ivey has dropped off in the second half of the season. Jaden Ivey in the first half of the season was probably looked at as the best playmaker, maybe next to Paolo Banchero, but that's just because Paolo maybe had a little bit of a bigger role. But Jaden Ivey was slinging the ball. He was scoring a lot. And then he had a few injuries, and then they kind of just really slowed down in the second half of the year. So when it comes to the person that fell off the most in terms of the rookie ladder, I would give it to Jaden Ivey.
Yeah, I don't think there's that many people from this class that you can claim like, oh, this guy's a bust, like right here.
Not
I think
yet.
you have to wait a year or so. But if I had to give like who's been like the worst rookie, I don't like Houston, so I'm gonna go with Ty Washington. He was selected in the first round by Houston, and he's just been in 14 minutes a game this year. He's giving you barely 5 points on 35% shooting, barely 20% from three, 63% from free throw, negative win shares. This dude's true shooting is terrible. From Kentucky, a blue blood first round pick. Not that many rookies who I'd say, this guy's clearly been the worst rookie. But if I had to throw one in there for the sake, I'd probably say like a Ty Washington. What about improved? What about the least improved player?
Oh, the least improved player. Wow. Now, you know what I heard someone say the other day, which was wild, and I heard someone hating on Julius Randle. And I was like, are you kidding me?
No way.
Julius Randle.
No
yeah,
way.
I heard someone
Julius Randle.
Least improved Julius Randle. And I thought there's absolutely no way. You can't expect a guy to continue to make 5 points per game, jump up 5 points per game every single time. Julius Randle is the biggest part to the Knicks being multiple games over 500. He is the only star in the league that has played every single game this season. If you want to look up every single guy that's played every game this season, you have Julius Randle and then a whole list of role players that play under 30 minutes. So Julius Randle's that durable guy. He plays all the games and he gives you his stats. So definitely not Julius Randle. I'll say that.
So who would be your least improved player if you can think of one?
DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar
DeMar DeRozan has not changed anything for the Bulls this season.
What about a guy who's younger though? I don't think we expected any improvements from.
Yeah, you don't expect any improvement from DeMar DeRozan. Wow, least improved player. Come back to me on that one.
I think you'll agree with mine. I think the least improved player in the NBA is by far Ben Simmons. He's not only has he not improved, he's the opposite of improved. When I think of least improved, maybe
he's regressed since his rookie year.
This isn't a guy who hasn't improved at all. This is a guy who's gone back. He has lost all of his confidence. He's not playing anymore. He keeps getting injured. This is a guy, when he was playing, was 18 a game, all defensive team. And now he's like, 6 a game? He doesn't shoot the ball. Still can't shoot threes. Hasn't improved his game whatsoever. And he's just going backwards as far as confidence in production. So I think the least improved player is Ben Simmons.
Yeah, Ben Simmons at one point was easily the best defender in the league because he was the best perimeter defender and he was also guarding 1 through 5. Ben Simmons, believe it or not only in the regular season, Ben Simmons used to give you playoff production of over 20 points per game, around 10 assists per game, and around 10 rebounds per game. There's a reason we used to call him Mini Bron. But now you have Ben Simmons. First of all, when he's on the court, it looks like he's allergic to scoring. He looks like he's afraid and that he wants to get the ball out of his hands as quick as possible. Sprints up the court, gets it out of his hands.
6 shots a game.
6 shots a game is the aggression of, I don't know, Walker Kessler. Like, you can't be having that aggression, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is also sitting out due to his back ligament hurting from sitting on the bench. He won't play for the rest of the year. I don't know. The Nets need to figure out Ben Simmons because if you can't get that same value out of him as before, you got to get rid of him.
Yeah, so Ben Simmons in year 4, his third year actually playing, he was 16 a game, and now in year 3, 4, 5, in year 6 in his 6th year, but technically because he didn't play 2 years, he didn't play his first year and then he didn't play last year. So in his actual 5th year of playing, he's averaging 7 points a game barely.
Actually, I found my least improved player, and this is a little bit personal for me because when it came to the draft, I said the number one player, 100%, the number one player that you want to choose is Cade Cunningham. You need to choose Cade Cunningham, and everyone was actually saying to me, no, take Jalen Green. No, take Jalen Green. Jalen Green is going to be this. Jalen Green is going to be that. He hasn't gotten worse this season, but his 17 points per game jump up to 22 points per game on worse efficiency isn't doing it to me. All that's telling me is that I'm taking more shots and helping my team win less. Jalen Green hasn't improved the way that I want him to improve.
Oh, yeah, Jalen Green just hasn't improved. He's chucking a lot of shots.
He's just become more of a chucker. He's averaging more points per game on vastly less. You don't want to see that as someone improves in points per game.
Let me see Jalen Green's stats.
22, I think.
Like really bad. All those boys in Houston. He has jumped up to 22 points per game, but he's just taking more shots and
less efficient. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's basically the same player from last year, just more.
And
shots.
This is the number
he's
2
basically
pick.
the same players last year, just with more shots.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jalen Green, my non-DPOY goes to Jalen Green. The Houston Rockets as a team has the 2nd worst defense in the NBA. And as far as Jalen Green, and of everyone who qualifies, he has the highest individual defensive rating. He doesn't play defense.
Absolutely no defense. If I'm going to give my non-DPOY, I'm going to give it to Trae Young. That's a safe pick every single year. Trae Young, due to his height, due to his lack of sideways movement when it comes to staying in front of someone on the perimeter. If you were to give Trae Young let's say if you were 6'5" and 200 pounds, if you were to approach Trae Young at 5 miles per hour, you're going to send him flying. So don't worry about driving by Trae Young. Okay. You can shoot over the top of him if you want. It's not going to contest it very much. Trae Young needed DeJounte Murray to help him out defensively. And that's why they got DeJounte Murray, was specifically to cover Trae Young's mistakes defensively. And the
we've
team
all
is still
waited-
500.
And we've all waited for this. The LVP.
I'm going to let you go on that one.
My LVP, drumroll please, goes to the best player in basketball, Killian Hayes. Congratulations, you are my LVP. Killian Hayes, he gets picked on a lot, but it's for a reason. The Pistons drafted this man 7th overall in 2020, and he hasn't panned out to be a 7th overall pick whatsoever. By far the worst individual true shooting percentage in the NBA. Killian Hayes is a bum. 7th overall pick, you're supposed to be a game changer, and you're a bum. So
I've seen shots that Killian Hayes takes that not even shots. I was going to say, I've seen Killian Hayes plays where I didn't know if he was trying to initiate a pass. I don't know if he was trying to shoot the ball. I don't know if he was trying to dribble clock out. I've seen plays where I'm watching Killian Hayes do what he's doing and thinking he looks lost on the basketball court. He doesn't look like he has any intentions to do anything with this basketball. And it shows because he has multiple shots ending up way over the backboard, multiple passes way out of arm's reach of someone that even if they had a 12-foot wingspan, they couldn't touch these lobs that Killian Hayes has thrown them. So yeah, Killian Hayes as an LVP is a perfect pick.
who's outside? Whatever. All right, so that would be your LVP as well?
100%.
100%. Killian Hayes, man, the worst player in NBA history. Killian Hayes probably will collect some more LVPs in his future, next to Kwame Brown and Anthony Bennett.
You don't want to be compared to those guys.
7th overall pick, bro. You're supposed to be like a game changer, bro. Like seriously, like you're supposed to come into an organization. I mean, 7th overall pick, you're not really expected to be like the number 1 player in the NBA, but you know what I'm saying?
You need to be a role player. You need to be a role
player to a team that's trying to rebuild, and you're the opposite. And the team's still rebuilding, and it's 2023. Killian Hayes, man, that's the LVP. The last topic for today, football to wrap it up. Lamar Jackson tweeted to his fans today, alerting them that he wants to be traded. And not that he just wants to be traded, that he requested to trade the organization weeks ago, and nothing has been done. Good takes. I want to ask you, bro, what do you got in the Lamar Jackson situation? What are your thoughts of Baltimore's organization? What are your thoughts on Lamar Jackson? You know, this whole situation with Lamar Jackson, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting with Lamar Jackson because he's won an MVP a few years ago. So he's established, I'm that guy. And usually what you do when an organization establishes that they have a top tier quarterback is you start to build a receiving core around him. Now, as far as I'm concerned, since his MVP, the best receiver he got is Hollywood Brown.
Yes.
Is that not the best receiver he's received since then to throw to?
Unless
so
you want to count
Hollywood
like
Brown.
Sammy Watkins and a 36-year-old Deshaun Jackson. Unless
36-year-old Deshaun Jackson was the biggest slap in the face when they go. I was like, come on, you can't be. But anyway, so you have Hollywood Brown as the best receiver that you've put around him in multiple years since his MVP season. The Baltimore Ravens don't really seem to be attacking any other wide receivers in free agency as well. I've seen multiple receivers. Devontae Adams went to the Raiders. Who's an open receiver this year? Don't we have Odell Beckham Jr. doing a lot of tryouts and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't hear the Ravens in any of these rumors. I hear the Giants in a lot of these rumors. I hear other teams. The Patriots are in some of these rumors. So where are the receivers?
To go get Adrian Brown last year.
So exactly. So people are making moves to get receivers for their quarterbacks, and it seems as though Lamar has said, here, stick with your mid receiving core and keep doing your running thing because that bails out your receiving core. So as far as the Ravens go, or as far as Lamar Jackson goes, he's not necessarily in the wrong to request a trade. It's pretty simple. That's saying, give me a receiving core or bring me to a team that I have someone to throw to.
I get where the Ravens are coming from, right? I understand where the Ravens are coming from. I respect Baltimore. I think they're one of the smartest organizations in the NFL. From when they started, when they came in the NFL to now, I think in that time span, they won 2 Super Bowls. They've been one of the classiest organizations, very smart. They have a culture. They've had a culture since day one. But Baltimore, I get it. You won 2 Super Bowls with Dilfer and Flacco, and you don't think you need a top-of-the-line quarterback to get it done. You can just rely on a run game and defense. Newsflash, Ozzie Newsome and them and company, the NFL has changed. It's changed. Gone are the days where you can win with a mid to slightly above average quarterback. Look at the NFL through the last, 10 years after Joe Flacco's Super Bowl win. Every Super Bowl was in the top 5, top 10-ish quarterback ranks when they won a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson. Peyton Manning wasn't really Peyton Manning, but they had an overly dominant defense, and Peyton Manning was still a name value Peyton Manning. Tom Brady multiple times. Who won? Matt Stafford won.
Patrick Mahomes.
Nick Foles won. Okay, you got me. But more often than not, you need a top-of-the-line quarterback. Patrick Mahomes. More often than not, you need a top-of-the-line quarterback. And when we think of the best quarterbacks in the league, the guys you think who can take over a franchise and get them on path to contention, we're talking about your Burrows, your Mahomes, your Herberts, your Allens. Lamar Jackson is, I think, a top 7 quarterback in football. Former MVP. I know people bring up the MVP a lot, but he's a former MVP. We've seen what he can do when his Baltimore Ravens gave him enough talent. The 2019 Ravens had a lot of Pro Bowlers, a great running game, probably their best receivers. We see what he can do. He's capable of throwing. I think a lot of the Ravens don't think he can throw that well. I don't think he is the best thrower like a Herbert, but I think he can throw pretty well. But I just don't understand. Yes, is he getting hurt a little bit? Yeah, but are you just going to let him go? And who's going to be your backup plan? You're going to have to, what's the time? What are they going to do? What's Baltimore going to do when they let Lamar Jackson go? Make a trade and somehow find a quarterback? I don't know.
They're going to sign Zach Wilson when Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets.
Yeah, but let me pull up what Lamar said. Yeah, Lamar said, bro, he said, I love the game of football. My dream is to help a team win the Super Bowl. Ravens fans are great, but I had to make a business decision that was best for my family. So he basically just said, man, I love the Ravens. I really appreciate my time here. I've done a lot here. But I got to pack my bags. I got to go. They don't respect my value. They don't think I deserve all this guaranteed money. They don't know who I am. So I'm going to take my talents elsewhere. John Harbaugh, dude, it's so funny because Harbaugh, when Lamar tweeted it, was exactly when Harbaugh had to go up and do an interview. And Harbaugh was just so unaware that Lamar Jackson tweeted that, and they got him right when he was doing the interview. He was just unaware.
Wow. I would say all I can think about in my head right now is destinations. And in terms of destinations, let's think Lamar Jackson. You have who would even be a market for him? Maybe Miami.
It would have to be via trade, correct? So
I'm trying to think people that have assets to give. So Miami could give some stuff.
He's a free agent, so they have to sign him. But Miami have to probably trade Tua.
I'd trade Tua for Lamar Jackson in a heartbeat.
Oh no, they signed. Okay, I blanked. They signed that franchise tag or whatever thing where it said we're gonna tag you, but you can sign somewhere else. And if you sign somewhere else, we can match it. Or if we don't want to match it, that team that signed you has to give us 2 first-round picks.
Okay,
yeah, it was some weird franchise tag. I forgot what it's specifically called, but they tagged Lamar Jackson. But if a team wanted to sign Lamar, they could have, but they would have to give 2 first-round picks back to Baltimore. Baltimore didn't want to match it. But now Lamar is saying, bro, just straight up trade me or something like that. Trade me.
He could go to the Giants. He could go to
Giants
to Miami.
Giants just signed Daniel Jones to a deal, so I don't think he'll go to the Giants.
Yeah. Did he get the money he was asking for? Or wasn't he asking for an obscene amount of money?
He got a lot. Yeah, he got a lot. Daniel Jones got a lot. But teams that are open, Carolina's going to go draft a quarterback. Houston's going to go draft a quarterback. Yeah. Indianapolis, although that's my Colts, I love Lamar Jackson. I think I'd rather go younger and cheaper. I think that's what they're going to do at 4. I'll get an Anthony Richardson who can also be a dual threat quarterback like a Lamar. So probably the Jets look sold on Rodgers. So the market honestly isn't that big. I think the biggest teams open. New Orleans just signed Carr, so they're off the board. Who are we thinking about? We still have Murray in Arizona. Tampa Bay. They signed Baker, correct?
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is still open. But I think the number one destination for me, honestly, would be like ATL. I know they have Desmond Ritter, but come on, man. You're going to stop Lamar Jackson for Desmond Ritter? Like, come on.
Is there a tight end back from the gambling suspension, Ridley?
Ridley was a wide receiver. And he actually got
receiver.
traded to Jacksonville last season.
Really?
So he's in Jacksonville now.
That's unfortunate.
So Atlanta wouldn't be bad. I mean, you think Michael Vick and the cultural impact he had in ATL. Imagine Lamar Jackson in ATL. Another
the
place,
two best running quarterbacks in your team of all time. Yeah, that's
exactly.
a good idea.
Another destination, I'd probably say, I just had it. Oh, Washington. Think about the Commanders. They're right there They're right there in Maryland by Baltimore. So Lamar Jackson fans are already in that area, the DMV area.
Yeah.
They don't have a quarterback. Wentz is gone, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I've been out the NFL trade loop for a while. I think Heineke's gone as well. I mean, they have Sam Howell. But that team has great receivers. Best receivers by far Lamar Jackson will ever have. Defense isn't terrible. Ron Rivera, an established coach. I would make that move.
I mean, hey, Lamar, if you want to come to the Patriots, I've given up on Mac Jones because it looks like that dude Zapsy or whatever. That dude's better than Mac Jones already. He's better than Mac Jones. So, I mean, hey, come on over, Lamar. I'm happy.
I've heard some Bailey Zappi rumors. I've heard some Lamar the Patriots rumors. I think Colin Cowherd's been pushing that. The fact that,
I'd love to see that.
Lamar Jackson, who are the receivers that the Patriots got now?
I think we actually just signed a receiver, the Patriots. Who do the Patriots have in that receiving core now?
I think N'Keal Harry walked, correct?
Yeah. Receiving core.
Blanket on the
Patriots.
Oh, they signed Juju. There we go.
Oh, they did sign Juju. Yeah, so we have Juju. We got Parker. We got Kendrick Bourne, and then it's not bad. It's not a bad receiving core.
It's still pretty mid, but it's better than
Juju as our best receiver is not horrible.
It's better than what's ever in Baltimore.
Yeah, you got it's not bad. You got Thornton.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's mid.
But hopefully hopefully because I want to see some excitement trade. Hopefully by the next show or two, Lamar Jackson does get traded because I'd love to talk about that. But we are out of topics for today. Good show. Actually, I didn't think it would go on for an hour and 7 based on my notes, but we talked for a while, which is good. So, more entertaining show. The views on the YouTube channel are going up. The views on the podcast or on TikTok are going up. So people are enjoying this. I appreciate all the people who are tapping in. Thank you for everyone for tuning in to the 25th episode of Some Casual Takes. You'll know where to find me Friday anytime between 12 or 1. I think I'd say Friday at 12:30, but I say just anytime 12 through 1 I might fire up, depending, because some people show up late to the show, and depending on what I do on Thursdays, Thursdays can get wild. So sometimes I need to wake up and spend extra minutes waking up. But thank you for everyone for tuning in. Some Casual Takes, you know where to find me. I appreciate it.